Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. We are going to talk about the fourth chakra region today. Heart, circulatory system, lungs, shoulders, arms, ribs, breasts, this whole area, diaphragm, so that's Ujjayi breathing, thymus gland. What I want to start by talking about is that a lot of the times in a yoga class, we focus almost primarily on the hip tilt, which is honestly, the foundation. So great. We talk about planting our two big toes in, spiraling the inner thighs up so that the low belly can pull down, but then also lift the low pelvis so that, watch what happens to my low back when I slink the sacrum down. My low back uncontorts. I do not have the sit inside of the low spine that I did before, right? So long low back. Every time I practice from now on, I'm thinking about how can I pull my low back down, and that's through the inner thigh rotation. And then how can I pull my low back apart? And that is through wrapping the outer ribs around and sealing the deal, right? Energy is contained between that hip region and now this new tilt I want to work on, the rib tilt. So we've got this capacity. Imagine that you are your rib cage for a minute. I've got mine in my hands, and that helps me to imagine what's happening here. Imagine that for a moment you can tilt the ribs forward. Notice how the front ribs tilt back and in, and the back ribs expand open when you do this, right? And then you can also tilt them just about parallel, or ribs sitting just where they should be, spinal cord lengthening. And then you can also tilt them forward, right? Opening the ribs in the front, compressing the ribs in the back. See that huge lumbar curl? It's nice to see against that gray background that I have back there. So I'm going to try to bring it back to neutral, spiraling the inner thighs in, making space for the pelvic tilt, following that pelvic tilt up. Okay, so for me, that means the terminology that I've heard used is soften your front ribs back, lift your back ribs, all right? They're trying to say here, so if I'm a person who likes to lift my heart from my ribs, there goes the spinal tilt up. Here's the opening and unleashing, unhinging of my fourth chakra, right? Here it is. So I need to pull, here they go, soften the front ribs back, lift the back ribs, all to say, take the pelvis, tilt it where it should be. Now take the ribs and pull them over the pelvis. Soften the front ribs back. Lift the back ribs. Open the heart now doesn't mean lift the ribs again. Keep the ribs in. Open the heart means spread apart the collarbones and pull the scapula together. This is a hard stance for me because I have been wanting to open my heart that way. So, burns me up right here in the middle, trying to get my heart to open without sacrificing the lowering of those ribs, okay? So, here I am again, standing in a normal way, which is compensated in a number of ways, as you can see. Right? Okay, so here I go. Plugging the toes into the ground, I'm going to spiral my inner thighs back best I can into space so that I can curl the outer hips around. Secure them with your quadriceps here. Butt is wide open and soft. Whew. That pelvic rubber band between the two hips is going to allow you to shift your pelvis forward by lowering the low spine. Now here goes my ribs already. I'm going to soften them back, lift the back ribs, hold, deep inhale, from the soles of the feet, up, 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 up. Now soften the heart open from the shoulders, not from the ribs. There's a mountain pose. Lift from the crown of the head. Inhale, lift the arms way up. Way up, drop the shoulders like you're reaching. Don't lose any of that. Inhale, inhale, inhale. Plug into the big toe mounds. Inhale. And exhale, forward fold. Keep the same plane. Keep the ribs tucked in. Don't splay. Don't splay, don't splay, don't splay. Now really lift the back ribs now. Oh. You got it. You got it, gang. Good job. So I've been seeing that and like, let's take that to Second Warrior, one of my favorite poses to work on. So I'm going to come at you from this angle because it's easier to see. I'm going to take a shallow Second Warrior because it's early. And I'm going to line myself up here, back arch, front heel-ish. Turning that back foot in just a little bit to help me plug into the back toe to internally rotate my back thigh. In to plug it into that hip, right? And so then I'm going to walk my left knee to the point where I can feel the active resistance between my two thighs. And now here I go. Both thighs, without sacrificing the left external rotation of the femur, are going to internally rotate to plug my bottom body in. Low back lowers down, front body comes in, and then here it is. My ribs are already set down and back. I need to lift those ribs in the back. Soften, the front ribs in, and then open the heart from the shoulders. Set in easy, lengthen. Not, but bringing the prana energy in between these two locks, Jalandhara, which is the neck setting down into the spine. It's not jutting open to open the heart. Here is the lock. And then from here, tucking, you activate that energy in between these two spaces, right? And what that's done for me in these last 6 months, pardon me, 4 months, let's say 4 months, working pretty diligently on that idea and sacrificing a lot of other ideas, just working on that pulling in concept has done a lot of work for my fourth chakra. So let's talk about this for a second. Carolyn Mize, I'll get my breath back. It's just a lot of work. Anatomy of the Spirit is where I am. This is in the 7 Sacred Truths, her chakra chapter. And in the fourth chakra, she talks about the mental and emotional issues. Here it is. Love and hatred, resentment and bitterness, grief and anger, self-centeredness, loneliness and commitment, forgiveness and compassion, hope and trust. These are everything that have been causing me everything. So, you know, besides the normal things that you would imagine, back and shoulder, upper back and shoulder issues, she also talks about asthma, allergy, myocardial infarction, heart attack, congestive heart failure, lung cancer, bronchial pneumonia, breast cancer. Okay, so these fourth chakra issues are intense and powerful, and this, I have noticed how the being able to center in and activate from a place deep within me to lengthen the low back. Instead of taking my normal lift, you see, if you lift from the heart and open the ribs and spread the energy of this space out and open, what it does to this lifting space here, well, those muscles are attached to the inner bottom. And so if you're lifting from that low back place, you're not getting any relief back there. That's causing all kinds of problems. You people who complain about hurting in boat, you need to be paying attention here. Spiraling the thighs back, rubber banding the ribs in, lowering the low belly. It makes me want to curl my heart in, but I've got to brace these muscles first. Soften the lower ribs back, lift the upper ribs, pull the shoulders back from the shoulders. lift, activate the Bandha lock here that lengthens you here to here. Up and in, up and in. Right? Okay. Practice that in every single pose, and yeah, that'll take the rest of your life.